First contact. The vast command deck of the Sovereign Eclipse hummed with activity as Admiral Zarek Verix studied the holographic projection of the blue-green planet. His 8-fingered hands clasped behind his back, exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. Earth, just another world to add to the Krell Dominion's ever-expanding empire. Primitive, Verix muttered, his voice a low rumble through respiratory filters. Their most advanced weapons use chemical propellants. Their spacecraft barely reach their own moon. His second-in-command, Commander Tellus, manipulated the controls to zoom in on Earth's continents. Most fascinating, Admiral, they appear completely divided. Nearly 200 separate political entities, constant regional conflicts, and no unified defense system. Verix's mouth slits curved in what passed for a smile among the Krell. The easiest conquests are always those who fight themselves instead of us. The Krell had conquered 26 worlds over 3 centuries, their method unchanged and devastatingly effective. Find developing civilizations, assess their weaknesses, strike with overwhelming technological superiority, and demand immediate surrender. Resistance meant escalating force until compliance was achieved. Most species surrendered after the first demonstration of Krell power. Intelligence suggests humans are particularly fractious, Tellus continued, scrolling through data collected by stealth probes. They've spent millennia warring over resources, ideologies, and territorial boundaries. Their military capabilities are distributed unevenly across their planet. Standard conquest protocol. Then, Verix decided. Neutralize their primitive satellite network, position dreadnoughts over major population centers, demonstrate force, and accept their surrender. Tellus hesitated. There is one anomaly in our surveillance. Admiral, explain. Our probes detected unusual energy fluctuations across the planet, intermittent and difficult to isolate, possibly natural phenomena. But you suspect otherwise. Verix finished. It's likely nothing. Their technological level couldn't possibly pose a threat. Verix considered this briefly. In 26 conquests, the Krell had never encountered meaningful resistance from pre-spacefaring civilizations. Deploy additional stealth probes. If there's something we've missed, I want to know before we begin. 3 days later, Verix stood at the same position, reviewing the new intelligence. The additional probes had found nothing concerning. Just a primitive species on the verge of significant technological advancement, but still centuries from becoming a genuine interstellar power. The invasion fleet is assembled, Admiral, Tellus reported. First wave consists of 47 assault carriers, phase-shielded and armed with atmospheric particle cannons. Their satellite network can be neutralized within minutes. Begin the operation, Verix ordered. I want a status report when their communication infrastructure is disabled. From the observation deck, Verix watched the sleek assault carriers detach from the main fleet. The invasion of Earth would be little more than a formality. Another notation in the expansive history of Krell conquest. By their measurements, humans would be incorporated into the Dominion within 1 Earth week. The assault carriers approach Earth's orbit silently, targeting the primitive satellite network. Energy weapons flashed in the void of space, destroying communication and observation satellites with surgical precision. Within 20 minutes, over 70% of Earth's orbital technology had been reduced to debris. Satellite neutralization proceeding as expected, Tellus reported. Moving to Phase 2. The carriers continued their approach, entering Earth's atmosphere over what intelligence identified as major population centers: Shanghai, New York, London, Mumbai, Tokyo, and 15 other strategic locations. The massive vessels descended through clouds, their enormous hulls becoming visible to the humans below. In New York, the lead Krell vessel lowered until it hovered 1 kilometer above the city center, casting a shadow over dozens of city blocks. Similar scenes played out across the planet as the first wave took position. All ships in position, Tellus reported, ready for intimidation display. This was Verix's favorite part, the moment when a species first comprehended how completely outmatched they were. He had witnessed it 26 times before. The panic, the fear, the inevitable surrender. "Begin the display," he ordered. Across Earth, the Krell ships activated their intimidation protocols. Energy shields hummed to life, creating shimmering barriers around each vessel. Weapon ports opened, revealing cannons capable of leveling city blocks. From the underside of each ship, smaller craft emerged, fighter vessels designed to swarm and overwhelm any resistance. On the Sovereign Eclipse, Verix waited for the expected reports of human panic. Instead, Commander Tellus looked confused as she studied her console. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the surface." "Explain," Verix demanded. Tellus's explanation was cut short as the ship rocked violently. "Status report," Verix bellowed. "We've lost contact with 5 first-wave vessels," another officer reported, his voice tight with disbelief. "New York, Shanghai, London, Mumbai, and Tokyo units are not responding." Verix's respiratory filters hissed as his breathing accelerated. "That's impossible. Check your systems." "Confirmed, Admiral. 5 ships destroyed, others reporting unexpected resistance." The main view screen shifted to show footage from the remaining ships. What Verix saw defied all intelligence reports. In cities across the planet, concealed weapon emplacements were emerging from buildings, roads, and parks. Anti-aircraft systems, unlike anything they had detected, were firing in coordinated patterns. Most shocking of all, the attacks were not random. They targeted specific vulnerabilities in Krell ship design. "How could they know our weak points?" Verix demanded. "How could they have these weapons?" Commander Tellus worked frantically at her console. "Admiral, we're detecting what appears to be a global defense network. The humans, they've been preparing for extraterrestrial contact." In Tokyo, the Krell ship that should have been inspiring terror was instead surrounded by advanced fighter aircraft that moved with unexpected agility. In Mumbai, ground-based energy weapons, technology humans shouldn't possess, were penetrating Krell shields. "Launch the second wave," Verix ordered. "Full combat protocols." But as the second wave prepared to launch, new alerts sounded across the bridge. "Admiral, we're detecting spacecraft launching from Earth's moon," an officer reported with disbelief. "Our sensors didn't detect any lunar base during our approach." Verix stared at the view screen as small, angular craft rose from concealed bases on the lunar surface. Their design was crude but functional, and the energy signatures suggested they were powered by technology suspiciously similar to Krell systems. "How is this possible?" Verix whispered. The truth dawned on him slowly. The humans had known they were coming. Somehow, this supposedly primitive species had detected the Krell approach and prepared accordingly. Worse, they had unified their planet's resources toward a single goal: defense. As reports of more destroyed first-wave ships flooded in, Verix faced a situation no Krell commander had encountered in the Empire's long history of conquest. The supposedly easy target was fighting back with unexpected coordination and technology that should have been beyond their reach. "Order all remaining first-wave ships to retreat," Verix commanded. "We need to reassess." As the surviving Krell vessels struggled to escape Earth's atmosphere, many failing as human weapons continued to find their marks, Admiral Verix realized a terrible truth. The Krell had studied human technology, but had overlooked something far more dangerous: human adaptability. Earth was not just another target. Somehow, humanity had prepared for this day. And now, the hunters had become the hunted. Counterattack. Admiral Verix paced the command deck of the Sovereign Eclipse, rage radiating from every movement. Holographic displays showed the devastating losses his fleet had suffered. 15 assault carriers destroyed, thousands of Krell warriors dead. A disaster without precedent in the Dominion's history of conquest. "How is this possible?" he demanded. These humans were supposed to be primitive. Commander Tellus's scales had paled with stress as she reviewed the battle data. "The intelligence was wrong, Admiral. They were prepared for us. Their weapons targeted our shield weak points with precision. Varix slammed his fist on the command console. In 26 previous conquests, no species had ever destroyed more than 3 Krell vessels. Yet these humans had eliminated nearly a third of his invasion force in a single engagement. Their defenses were hidden, continued Talos, concealed within existing structures. Our scans showed nothing unusual. The implications were clear. Either the humans possessed sensor-blocking technology far beyond their expected capabilities, or they had somehow known the Krell were coming and had prepared accordingly. They were waiting for us, Varix said finally. This changes everything. He turned to face his command staff. The standard invasion protocol had failed catastrophically. Now they would have to use methods reserved for only the most resistant worlds. Prepare the planetary bombardment weapons, Varix ordered. We will revert to scorched earth tactics. The weapons officers moved quickly, activating systems rarely used before. The Sovereign Eclipse carried devices capable of triggering extinction-level events on a planetary surface. Weapons designed not to conquer but to destroy. Target their largest population centers first, Varix commanded. We'll burn their civilization to ash. As the bombardment systems powered up, a strange alert sounded from multiple stations on the bridge. Admiral, we're experiencing system anomalies, reported the chief engineer. Power fluctuations in the main weapons array. Varix turned sharply. Explain. Unknown, sir. The targeting computers are not responding correctly. The power distribution network appears to be rerouting commands. More alerts sounded across the bridge. Control screens flickered, displaying strange symbols before returning to normal. What is happening? Varix demanded. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a bunker carved into the seabed, Dr. Maya Ingram hunched over her terminal, fingers flying across the interface as she navigated the alien computer systems. Around her, 20 of Earth's best hackers worked with similar intensity, their faces illuminated by the glow of their screens. I'm into their power distribution grid, Maya announced, redirecting energy away from their weapon systems. Good work, said General Reyes, watching the operation from behind the team. How long can you maintain control? Maya didn't look up from her screen. Unknown. Their security protocols are adapting, but not as quickly as we expected. The translation matrix is holding. When the first alien ships had been shot down, recovery teams had immediately extracted their computer cores. Earth scientists had spent years preparing for this moment, developing systems that could interface with potential alien technology based on universal computing principles. The gamble had paid off. Within hours of capturing intact Krell systems, the hacking team had identified vulnerabilities in their quantum neural networks. The aliens had never encountered a serious cyber threat before, making their advanced systems surprisingly vulnerable to certain types of attacks. They're trying to lock us out, called another hacker. Changing encryption patterns. Maya nodded. Switch to Protocol Omega. Deploy the worm. The team launched their most sophisticated weapon, a self-modifying code designed to mimic the Krell's own neural command structures. As it penetrated deeper into the alien systems, it caused cascading failures that appeared to be natural malfunctions. Back on the Sovereign Eclipse, chaos had overtaken the bridge. All weapons systems offline, reported the increasingly panicked weapons officer. Life support fluctuating on decks 7 through 12. Communications with the remaining fleet are failing. Admiral. Varix stared at the malfunctioning displays in disbelief. Is this some kind of human attack? How could they affect our systems from their planet? Commander Tellus's eyes widened suddenly. Admiral, new contacts detected. Multiple vessels approaching from the direction of Earth's moon. The main view screen shifted to show several dozen spacecraft emerging from the lunar surface. Their design was clearly of human origin, but sensors detected energy signatures that matched Krell technology. Impossible, Varix whispered. They've weaponized our technology. On the lead lunar assault craft, Captain Sophia Chen checked her systems one final time. The hybrid drive hummed beneath her feet. Human engineering powered by an antimatter reactor salvaged from a downed Krell ship. All ships report ready, her executive officer confirmed. Weapon systems online. Chen nodded. Begin approach formation Delta. Remember your training. These ships don't handle like our simulators. The lunar fleet accelerated toward the Krell Armada. For years, humanity had maintained what appeared to be scientific outposts on the moon. In reality, they were military installations preparing for the day when extraterrestrial contact might turn hostile. When the Krell arrived, these bases had revealed their true purpose. The hybrid ships had been assembled in record time, combining Earth's most advanced aerospace technology with components reverse-engineered from alien technology Earth had been secretly studying. "They're not reacting to our approach," reported the sensor officer. "Their defense systems appear compromised." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The cyber team came through. Weapons free. Target their engines and communication arrays. The human fleet opened fire, their weapons finding gaps in the Krell shields that would normally have been protected by automated defense systems. Aboard the Sovereign Eclipse, Admiral Verix watched in horror as the human ship swarmed his crippled fleet. "How did they get into space?" he demanded. "Their technology shouldn't allow this. They've adapted our propulsion systems," Tellus replied, her voice hollow with shock. "And our weapons technology. The lunar bases were hidden from our sensors." The bridge rocked as the first direct hits struck the flagship. Emergency alarms blared as damage reports flooded in. "We need to retreat," Verix decided. "We cannot win this battle with compromised systems." But retreat was becoming impossible. The lunar fleet had positioned itself to cut off the Krell's escape route, forcing them to fight through to reach safer space. In the hacking bunker, Maya watched the battle unfold through satellite feeds. "Their main systems are attempting a complete restart," she reported. "We're going to lose access soon." General Reyes nodded. "You've done enough. The lunar fleet will handle the rest." The space battle intensified as the remaining Krell ships regained some control of their systems. They fought with the desperation of predators who suddenly found themselves prey. Captain Chen's voice crackled over the comm system. "Target the flagship's propulsion. If we can capture the command vessel intact, we gain access to their entire technological database." The lunar fleet concentrated fire on the Sovereign Eclipse's engine section, carefully avoiding critical systems that might trigger a catastrophic explosion. Admiral Verix felt his ship shudder as another round of human weapons found their mark. "How could they know so much about our designs?" he wondered aloud. "Sir, we've lost propulsion," the engineering officer reported. "We're drifting." Verix looked at the tactical display. Half his remaining fleet had been destroyed or disabled. The rest were fighting desperately against the human ships that seemed to anticipate their every move. "Send the emergency signal to Homeworld," Verix ordered. "The humans are not as advertised. They are a grave threat." Tellus worked at her console. "Communications are still compromised, Admiral. The signal isn't going through." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Verix faced the possibility of defeat, not just a tactical setback, but a complete failure of the Krell conquest machine. "Prepare boarding defenses," he ordered grimly. "The humans will try to take the ship." As he spoke, the first human boarding craft attached themselves to the Sovereign Eclipse's hull, cutting through with tools clearly designed for this specific purpose. The Krell, who had conquered 26 worlds without serious resistance, now faced an enemy who had not only repelled their initial attack, but was now carrying the fight to them, using their own technology against them. The hunters had become the hunted. The conquest of Earth had become something no Krell commander had ever experienced before, a desperate fight for survival. Revelation. Admiral Verix stood on the damaged bridge of the Sovereign Eclipse, his once pristine uniform now torn and stained with the purple blood of his own species. Emergency lights cast an eerie glow across the command center as repair crews worked frantically to restore critical systems. "Status report," Verix demanded, his voice raspy from hours of shouting orders. Commander Tellus limped to his side, her right arm hanging useless after a power conduit explosion. Not good, Admiral. We've lost 60% of our fleet. The human attacks continue to intensify. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the battle unfolding around them. The sight made Verix's four hearts stink. Human vessels darted between his ships, their movements chaotic and unpredictable. Their designs were crude, welded metal, and exposed components, but they moved with deadly purpose. Look at how they'd fight, Verix said, pointing to a cluster of human ships harassing one of his cruisers. They're using attack patterns I've never seen before. The human vessels seemed to operate independently yet somehow maintained perfect coordination. 3 small ships would draw fire from the Krell defenses, while a 4th would slip through to deliver a precise strike against vulnerable systems. When the Krell adapted to this tactic, the humans immediately changed their approach. "Bring up the historical combat records," Verix ordered. "Show me anything similar to these tactics." The tactical officer worked his console. "Nothing matches. Admiral, I've checked our records from all 26 previous conquests. No species has ever fought like this." A massive explosion flashed on the view screen as another Krell ship fell to the human assault. The bridge crew flinched collectively. "How could they adapt so quickly?" Verix demanded. "It's been less than 3 days since our first attack. They shouldn't have been able to understand our technology, let alone use it against us." Tellus stepped forward, her analytical mind working despite the pain of her injuries. "Admiral, I believe I have an answer. I've been studying their historical records since we captured their satellite data." She gestured to a junior officer who projected a series of images on the secondary screen, scenes of human warfare throughout their history. "Their entire history is nothing but adaptation through conflict," Tellus explained. "Their planet has thousands of distinct cultures that have been fighting each other for millennia. They've developed more forms of warfare than all previously conquered species combined." Verix stared at the images. Humans fighting with primitive weapons, then machines, then aircraft, then nuclear weapons, constantly evolving their tactics with each new technology. Unlike other species who developed in relative isolation or with limited conflicts, humans never stopped fighting each other, Tellus continued. They've had to constantly adapt to survive. It's in their nature. The ship rocked as another hit struck their weakened shields. "Battle update," Verix demanded. "The humans have split their forces," reported the tactical officer. "One group continues to engage our fleet while another has broken off towered." The officer paused, checking his readings. "Admiral, they're heading for our drone carriers." Verix's eyes widened. The drone carriers held thousands of automated attack craft, the second phase of invasion that they hadn't even been able to deploy yet. "Redirect defensive forces to protect the carriers," Verix ordered. "Those drones represent a third of our offensive capability." But the order came too late. On the view screen, human ships surrounded the first drone carrier. Their weapons targeted specific external systems rather than trying to destroy the massive vessel. "They're not attacking to destroy," Tellus realized. "They're capturing the drones." In a research facility beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Dr. Elijah Washington hunched over a captured Krell drone. His team worked frantically around him. The automated attack craft was roughly the size of a small car, its sleek design built for atmospheric combat. "How's the neural interface coming?" he asked, not looking up from his work. Dr. Lin, the team's computer specialist, continued typing commands into her terminal. "Nearly there. Their command protocol is complex, but follows logical patterns. It's built to receive orders from a central intelligence, but has autonomous capabilities." "Can we override it?" Washington asked. Lin nodded. "I believe so. The drones are designed to recognize friendly and enemy signatures based on embedded recognition codes. If we can alter those codes, we could make them see their own ships as enemies." Washington finished her thought. The team had been working nonstop since the first drones had been captured. While Earth's military engaged the Krell fleet directly, the scientific division had focused on turning the aliens' technology against them. "I've got it," Lynn announced suddenly. "The recognition protocol is isolated. We can rewrite it." Washington moved to her side, studying the alien code patterns on her screen. "How many drones can we control at once? If we upload the modified protocol to their command carrier, it would affect all drones connected to that network. Potentially thousands." Washington straightened, making a quick decision. "Do it. Then transmit the procedure to all research stations. Every captured drone gets the same modification." Back in space, the battle took an unexpected turn. The drone carrier's launch bays opened, releasing hundreds of attack drones. But instead of targeting the human vessels, they turned toward the Krell fleet. On the Sovereign Eclipse's bridge, chaos erupted. "Admiral, the drones are targeting our ships," a panicked officer shouted. "They're not responding to override commands." Verix watched in horror as his own automated weapons swarmed his damaged fleet. "How is this possible? The recognition protocols are hard-coded." Tellus's expression was grim. "They've done the impossible. They've turned our own technology against us completely." The bridge rocked as a drone impacted directly against their weakened shields. Systems failed across the flagship as more drones joined the attack. "We've lost engines, weapons, and long-range communications," reported the systems officer. "Life support is failing on multiple decks." Verix stood amid the chaos, finally understanding what they faced. The Krell had conquered 26 worlds by exploiting divisions, overwhelming with superior technology, and counting on predictable responses. But humans were different. They unified in the face of external threats. They adapted technology at an alarming rate. And most importantly, they were unpredictable, using tactics that evolved moment by moment. "Admiral," Tellus said quietly, "we have one option remaining. The self-destruct sequence would take most of their fleet with us." Verix considered the option. The destruction of the Sovereign Eclipse would indeed cause massive damage to the human fleet. It might even turn the tide of the battle. But it would also destroy the evidence of what they had discovered, the warning that needed to reach the Krell Dominion. Humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They represented something the Krell had never encountered, an existential threat. "No," Verix decided. "Prepare the emergency escape pods. Download all battle data to my personal command unit. The Dominion must know what we've discovered here." "And the crew?" Tellus asked. "Those who can reach the pods will come with us. The rest." Verix's voice trailed off. Tellus understood. It was unprecedented. A Krell admiral abandoning his flagship. But these were unprecedented circumstances. As they prepared to evacuate, the main screen flickered, and a human face appeared. Female, dark-skinned, with an expression of calm authority. "Admiral Verix," she said in perfect Krell language. "I am General Maya Rise of the United Earth Defense Force. We have control of your vessel's communication systems and have been monitoring your conversations." Verix froze. "How do you know my name? How are you speaking our language?" "We've been studying you for longer than you realize," Rise responded. "We intercepted your scout probes years ago. We've been preparing for this meeting ever since." Verix's mind raced. Scout probes. The Krell had sent automated data collection devices to thousands of systems. Some were never heard from again, assumed lost to natural phenomena or technical failures. "Your species has two choices, Admiral," Rise continued. "Complete destruction or immediate retreat. If you choose retreat, you will carry our message back to your Dominion. Earth is not for conquest. We will defend our planet by any means necessary." "And if we choose destruction?" Verix asked. "Then none of you will return to warn your people, and the next Krell fleet will meet the same fate. Only we will be even better prepared, having learned more from your technology." It was a perfectly logical threat, and Verix knew she meant every word. In 3 days, humans had adapted Krell technology and tactics that had taken the Dominion centuries to develop. What would they do with the wreckage of an entire invasion fleet? How can I trust that you will allow us to leave? Varix asked. You can't, Reyes replied simply. But consider this. If we wanted your complete destruction, we would have already triggered your ship's reactor overload. We've had the capability for the past hour. The communication ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Tellus spoke first. Admiral, if they've had control of our reactor, they could have destroyed us at any time, Varix finished. Yet they offer terms. It was the final proof. Humans weren't just technologically adaptable. They thought differently. No species the Krell had encountered would show restraint in the face of an invasion force. Prepare all remaining ships for immediate retreat, Varix ordered. Full emergency protocols. As the surviving Krell vessels limped away from Earth, Varix stood at the viewport of his escape shuttle. Behind them, the disabled Sovereign Eclipse drifted, surrounded by human ships that made no move to pursue the retreating Krell. They're letting us go, Tellus observed. Yes, Varix replied. Because they want the Dominion to know. Know what, Admiral? Varix turned from the viewport, his expression grim. That the galaxy has changed. The Krell Dominion is no longer the apex predator. We've awakened something far more dangerous than ourselves. In the coming weeks, as the battered remnants of the invasion fleet made the long journey home, Varix prepared his report for the Dominion Council. They would not want to hear what he had to say. The Krell had built their empire on the assumption that technological superiority guaranteed victory. Earth had proved that assumption fatally flawed. The humans would not stay on their world now. Having repelled the Krell and captured their technology, Earth would look to the stars with new purpose. They would expect retaliation and prepare accordingly.